FM23, it's new. It's new, right? It's new for all of us. How is the match engine going to affect the tactics we know and love? How are we going to build new tactics? Today, if I look at every Premier League's tactic in Football Manager, that's going to give us an idea how to build one for ourselves. Yes, crew, how's it going? So it's beta night. This is the night of beta. I've worked my you-know-what off to get this video done for you, and I've gone through every Premier League team in FM to see what tactic they're setting up at. Now at this point, it's worth remembering that when the guys at FM are getting the game ready for the new season, not only are they scouring the world with all the scouts to get the players sorted, they're scouring the managers as well, seeing what tactics they are using. So it's going to be pretty accurate when we're in game on the tactics they're going to be using, so we can see what are doing well, shapes, get ideas for ourselves, and we can use that to build our tactic. And don't forget, we are told this year that the AI managers are a little bit more smart, so they're going to adapt. So I'm thinking the tactic is going to be that little bit more accurate. Let's go and have a look. Right then, Arsenal under Arteta. Now a lot of you guys are going to be doing this, and a lot of my fellow creators are doing this in beta as well. So it'll be interesting to see their take. But it looks like a 4-2-3-1, but they've got a double pivot and a deep one at that. Interesting. Now what I love about this and what I mentioned about the FM scouts is that we've got the roles there. We've got fullbacks, Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, which is quite surprising. You might expect Zinchenko to be a higher up or even inverted. How about a Regista role for Xhaka? Nottingham Forest and all their new players, and they've forced it into a 3-4-2-1 it looks like. And again, we've got that double pivot. Two guys in behind the one striker, which is interesting. I actually love the setup here. I do love the setup. Will it work for Forest though? Lampard's Everton, and it's the first 4-3-3 we come up against. They're using two wing backs, so it's an aggressive one. And on the left hand side, Dwight McNeil as an advanced playmaker. Interesting. In central midfield, we've got a double CM. Has Lampard twigged onto central midfield on attack? Bournemouth, another three at the back system. Double wide centre backs, which I love, with a ball playing defender in the middle. That's expansive. Add to that two complete wing backs, advanced playmaker. Alright, Bournemouth. So really expansive from Bournemouth, and you can see the two complete wing backs, the two wide centre backs, and it has materialised that they did actually appoint Chris Wilder at the start of the season, and that was the way he played at Sheffield United. So that makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? But super aggressive from them. 4-3-3 for Eddie Howe's Newcastle, forcing in Isak and Wilson. Interesting to see if they stay that way during the match. Trippier's a little bit more advanced, and again, every tactic we've seen so far has had at least one defensive midfielder. Erik Ten Hag's Man United. Look at this little bad boy. Again, we've got that double defensive midfield pivot. Eriksen is a roaming playmaker this time. We've got Rashford on one side, Anthony the other. He favours Ronaldo up front as a poacher. Fernandes in behind, and two complete wing backs. So it's really aggressive, but you've got that double pivot as a cover as well. Double pivot. We're speeding things up a bit, but again, we've got a 4-2-3-1 with Fulham this time, and then yet again, it's that double pivot. That is the big theme I'm getting from FM23 this year and all their scouts. Seeing a lot of midfields sitting deep and letting the front 4 or 5 do the bulk of the work, supported by wingbacks. Brendan Rodgers opts for a 4-3-3. Slightly different though, he is using an inverted wingback in Castagne. Justin James as a traditional fullback, and a double box-to-box midfielder and a double inside forward. Another team with a 4-3-3, and again it's different though, because this time we've got a double inverted wingback, which is really interesting. We haven't seen that yet, and above them is a double inverted winger, so really narrow 4-3-3 from Wolves. As we play this on, this Wolves tactic is brought about by their new manager, Big Andrew, who they've took from Celtic. So he's the one playing this double inverted wing-back system, which is interesting. Next up, most people's nemesis on this game, and definitely mine, is Liverpool, and it's the Klopp 4-3-3. A couple of new additions in there, but still, wing-back on one side, full-back on the other. Mazzala with a roaming playmaker, and then that front three that causes so many issues. Two inside forwards, and the drop-off striker, the deep line forward. It's Klopp's heavy metal 4-3-3, and it's still the same. Brentford next. The flirted between 4-3-3 and 5 at the back this season in real life, but FM has them down with the 3 at the back system, and it's pretty a solid one, this one. We've seen some extravagant ones, but this one, straight up centre back, straight up wing backs, box to box midfielder double. Yeah, that's a proper grafting 5 at the back system. Brighton and De Zerbi, not Potter, De Zerbi's Brighton. It's a 3 at the back system, really solid looking. There's that double pivot again with normal wing backs. Lamptey on one side, who's going to probably bomb on way more. The 3 centre backs are pretty standard as well. Centre back and a ball player. And you've got an advanced playmaker and a false 9 in Trossard. So, super fluid front 3, sorry. Interesting to see how it goes. Graham Potter's Chelsea. It's the 3 at the back system, and yet again we see that double pivot. That is definitely the go-to, it seems, this year. Jesse Marsh's Leeds, and we've got the scenario yet again. Double pivot. This time it's a double defensive midfield with Rocker and Adams. Rocker's probably got a little bit more expressiveness about him. Then up front you've got a shadow striker for the first time I think we've seen today. So a shadow striker in behind a striker with 2 inverted wingers. Those 4 are going to do the work, supported by a wing back in Souza on the left hand side. Luke Alien down as a no-nonsense fullback. That's the first time we've seen that too. So it's a 4-2-3-1 with a double pivot. West Ham and Moyes, very similar to Leeds, but this time we've got the double pivot with a ball-winning midfielder, and high up, instead of a shadow striker, we've got an advanced playmaker and an inside forward, so a little bit more aggressive there, and we've got Antonio as a complete forward. I'm guessing he will switch over with Shamaka pretty quickly, but a double wing back as well. It's a 4-2-3-1, and you guessed it, double pivot. Vieira and Palace. Now this setup is a 4-3-3, and look at it, it just oozes counter-attacks to me. You've got solid across the back with full backs, you've got an anchor man, the first time we've seen that, double box-to-box midfielder, and out wide, again, the first time we've seen this, 2 wingers and a target forward. That is counter-attacking personified. Southampton and Hassan Hutel, 4-2-3-1, double pivot. Prowse as a ball midfielder, not so sure about that. We've got 2 inside forwards, a pressing forward, pretty standard, and yes, the double pivot. Right, I've been waiting for this one. This is Spurs, 3 at the back, just like Conte likes to do. That double pivot in there yet again. Higher up it gets interesting. Rather than 2 wide, so you might think of 2 inside forwards or inverted wingers, they've got 2 behind the first striker. So you've got Kane there as an advanced playmaker. What the deuce? Interesting. But the setup, I can kind of get with. Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. Now, it's pretty unspectacular. It's quite basic. It's workmanlike. And that's kind of summing up the way they're going in real life. Bizarrely's got Dini as a fullback and Chambers as a wing-back. Stevie lad. I'd probably switch those 2 around. Higher up, you've got an inverted winger, inside forward, and an advanced forward in Danny Ings. Pretty basic 4-3-3. And last but not least, it's Man City, it's Pep Ball, and I've just done a City Recreation, which will be on the channel soon, and do you know what? It is not a million miles off that, so the researchers have done a blinding job. You've got Cancelo as the inverted wing back, Walker on the other side, Rodri sitting, De Bruyne and Gundogan doing whatever they want, Grealish and Silva out wide, and then you've got the man up front. That is a 4-3-3 that will probably rip it up. So the big takeaway here is 10 out of the 20 Premier League teams, that's half, using a double defensive midfield pivot. That is interesting. Last year there was nowhere near like that. Nowhere near. In fact, the most popular formation we came up against was a 4-2-3-1 with that double defensive midfield. I think this is super handy, this. I think it's handy because it's showing us what the game thinks works. And if the game thinks it works, why can't we build something like that as well? So I'm going to go away and work on a double defensive midfield pivot tactic because everyone seems to be using it. Anyway, get yourself away, start building some tactics, enjoy the beta, and stay tuned on the channel because there's heaps to come.